it's Fox. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Today, because of the holiday, we are going to be talking about a creepy story from Northern Ireland. Has nothing to do with St. Patrick himself, but keeping the theme of St. Patrick's Day, we are going to be talking about Ireland. So this story comes from Northern Ireland in a place called Fermanagh. I believe that's how you say it. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Fermanagh, I don't know. And it's about a cottage out in the woods that had belonged to Bridget Murphy and her 6 children. She had moved in after her husband had died, so she was a widow. There was a ton of activity in this house, and there was no apparent reason for it. There was no murders in it. Nothing bad had happened in it. The only thing that was a little strange was that at one point, I guess there was some sort of celebration, and someone did ask the band that was there to play an old-time song that had to do with the war. I'm not sure which war, but with a war. And that is the only thing where things just got a little creepy. I don't know if it's because the song was creepy, I'm not sure. But that is the only thing that happened prior to her moving into that cottage where there was any kind of eeriness. But after she moved in, things got quite different. There was all sorts of activity. There were things flying across the rooms. Things got very violent. There were sounds. At one point, one of her daughters was doing the laundry, and she went to go put things away. And she was putting them away in one of the dressers, or bureaus, and she had opened it up and was putting the sheets away, and it suddenly slammed shut, one of the drawers. It slammed on her hand. And from that point, things just got worse. They did call in a couple priests, to no avail, unfortunately. The only thing that everybody had in common for a name of this poltergeist, because it was poltergeist activity for sure, which a poltergeist means like a talking ghost, or like a very active, noisy ghost. That's what a poltergeist is. Something that has a lot of like obvious activity, things moving, sounds being had, not just visions, not apparitions, but actual movement and energy being used. So the only thing that people could agree on is that they kept getting this name Johnny or John. So that's what people would call it. But the priest had come and had done blessings on the house. Nothing would help. And the priest did say that they would get these thumping feelings on their chest. Even coming to the house, they could feel it. And it wasn't just anxiety, you know. I mean, I could understand there being anxiety for sure, but this wasn't anxiety. This was an overwhelming feel of dread that they had coming to this house. So they went, they did their blessings, and nothing helped these people. Eventually, after, her daughter got hurt, everything was flying around the house. They would hear sounds, especially while they were sleeping, all the time. Sounds coming from the ground, coming from the walls, coming from everywhere. They literally just got on a boat and they came to America and just left it all behind. And nobody has moved into this house since because of the stories, because of all the activity, and nobody wants anything to do with it. So, years later, there have been investigators that have come to check this out. There have been numerous EVPs, and when people go in to investigate this property, their batteries go dead. If they put in brand new batteries, their camera just straight up will not work. If they do get a picture, the only thing that comes out in the picture is the other investigators. That's it. Everything else around them will be completely black, and nothing will show up in the picture. No matter how much flash they have, no matter what lights they have on, the only thing that shows up is any other investigator that is currently with them in the building at the same time. When they ask if they can make a sound or show some activity, they do frequently hear a knocking or hear something outside just rustle or get thrown. At one point, while the house was still active, someone had visited the house. It wasn't one of the priests, it was just a visitor, and made a report that while he was in one of the bedrooms, suddenly he just felt this whoosh, go by him, and he couldn't see anything, nothing was there, and suddenly across the room, under the blankets in the bed, there was a sheet, and the sheet started to rise and look like the form of a person underneath, and it started to raise and lower as if someone were breathing really heavy, like dying breaths. Like when you're dying, you breathe those heavy sighs, and it was making that movement. And then suddenly, just as fast as it began, there was another whoosh, and the blanket just settled flat again. He didn't know what to think about that, but it was obviously very frightening for him. He took off. He did not continue his stay. So now investigators have come in, psychics have come in, and again, the psychics keep hearing the name John. All they hear is the name John when they hear it, and pretty much even the psychic said, I want nothing to do with this. Whoever this John person is, I don't want to even hear them in my mind. I don't want to feel them. Whoever they are a nasty, nasty entity, and they are vicious. And all you can feel is just this dread upon you, and just this heavy feeling of just not wanting to be there for any circumstance. When they were investigating the house, again, all the sounds were coming from the loft upstairs and the space right below it. Nowhere else in the house, just where the kids had slept. And they said it sounded like it was coming almost from within the ground, like a deep demonic sound coming up from the ground, through the walls and into the living space. And they cut their investigation pretty short. It was just a very unnerving, unfriendly feeling. And from every single thing I've read, everything I saw, almost every single one of them has said that they put this particular cottage in Northern Ireland in the easy top 5 of the scariest places they have ever encountered. And that says a lot. So, if you decide you want to go out to the Murphy Cottage in Northern Ireland, I'd recommend you think about it, and maybe don't. Hope you're having a good night, a good day, whenever you happen to see this video, and I hope your St. Patrick's Day was awesome. Hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe if you want to see more. I put out videos as often as I can. I don't really have a schedule as of yet, but I'm doing what I can, getting them out when I can. Trying to do it as often as possible, but we'll see what happens. So like I said, give it a like, give it a subscribe. Please leave a comment. Let me know if you've heard about this place. If you know of any other places that you want me to research and talk about. Maybe some that I could go to if they're, in the United States, on the East Coast preferably, close to Connecticut. That'd be awesome. And I hope you're having an awesome time watching me, and I hope you're entertained. And subscribe. Get these videos. Take care. Bye.